When singers ask me what breath support should feel like, they're usually not asking for more instruction, but they're asking for reference points within the body, reference points for sensation. How should it feel, right? Most of us watching this video probably know a lot about breath support already, but we're maybe missing that sensory feedback, which is in fact the most reliable sort of support that we can be accessing, right? This is something we know in our bodies, something we can draw upon in a moment that doesn't require an entire mental process to access. So in this video, I want to help you recognize what those sensations might be, and also what the sensations are that mean maybe you're not quite coordinated and on track with your breath support. My name is Deanna Braywick. I'm an opera singer. Opera singers don't sing with mics. We fill theaters with our voices completely 100% acoustically. So when we're thinking about filling a huge theater without a mic, we have to understand what breath support is. It is a non-negotiable, because otherwise we're not going to have the power to fill that space. Also, we will fatigue and potentially injure ourselves. So this is a topic I love talking about. It's something I think there's a lot of misconception or confusion around. And so I am here to clarify that for you in a very simple way. So first, let's talk about some of the false landmarks, some of the signs that things maybe are not functioning optimally. You may not even need me to tell you what these are. So breath support is not gripping in the abs. It is not a tightness in the abdominals, in the body. It is not pushing air. Breath support is a management of air. So if we are pushing air, if we're feeling a ton of pressure, we might be off track. It's not bracing or locking. So we're not expanding and then like holding that sort of locked position. It's actually a very flexible and buoyant coordination. And it's not holding the breath. Yes, we want to engage breath support because we are lengthening the exhale, but this is not done through a holding or storing up of the breath. My least favorite landmark is bearing down or pressing into your pelvic floor as if you were in the bathroom. Okay? I mention this because this one has been going around, and I think we should immediately toss this one out the window. This is not going to be helpful to you at all, and in fact, it could be anatomically damaging to you, and it's not going to help your singing. So if it feels effortful, if it feels rigid, if it feels tight, if it feels held, this is not support. This is compensation. This is your body stepping in to try to support this vocal production you are attempting because you are perhaps not coordinated with the breath and supporting in a sustainable, healthy way. So, what are some core sensations to notice that we maybe want to lean into a little bit more? We know that breath support in the Italian school of singing comes from the word appoggiare, which means to lean. Appoggio is a lean. So we're going to talk more about this. But when we're talking about breath support, we are looking for something to lean on, right? It's like we're looking for a friend here just to lean on. So this is, again, not a holding thing. It's not a bracing. It's a lean. I mean, just think about leaning against something right now. I'm leaning against my bookshelf. There's a flexibility to it. There's a buoyancy, right? It's not a gripping, right? It's a lean. So here are some sensations that we want to look for, notice, and encourage. One is expansion or buoyancy, an openness, As we inhale, even just now, take a deep breath. There is a natural expansion in the body. And as we exhale, we deflate, right? So there's this opening, this expanding, and this contracting. And it's a very natural, this is the function that is keeping us alive. It's the one that brings us here today, that enables you to watch this video. So expansion and buoyancy. There is a buoyant, floating feeling to it, not a stiffness, not a holding. There's a sense of responsiveness. So again, coming back to that buoyancy, we can find engagement and release within this breath support. As we find this, there is an easing of tension in the throat, in the jaw, in the neck. So we are moving any sort of pressure or tension or unnecessary engagement away from this area and into these bigger muscles of the body. We want to move it away from here because we want this to be ringing, right? We want to have this maximum resonance happening here. If we're holding, if we're locking, that's going to be hard. It's going to make it really hard. So we want to move things more into the body. And lastly, it's a feeling of being held rather than holding. Again, we're not gripping. We're finding a buoyant engagement and coordination. And we actually feel a sort of sense of being held in the body. We feel held and supported in our own bodies all the way down into the pelvic bowl. So we don't feel like we're just trying to produce from here, right? We're actually in the body in a very deep way. So these are just some signposts that you can be looking for, right? Because I think a lot of us come to breath support with questions. Am I feeling the right thing? Is this correct? Is this working? So I encourage you to check in with these landmarks and to bring some more of your awareness to that. So let's just close this out with a quick little embodied check-in. So bring your hands here to your ribs and just notice your breath. Breathing in and out naturally. This is functional breathing, expansion on the inhale, and a contraction, a deflating on the exhale. So just find that breath. And then I want you just to do a fun little ha! Like something just amusing or funny just popped up and it's a little ha! A little laugh. Okay, so sorry. I know this gets like a little awkward, but what are you feeling in your body? So we don't need to control anything here. We don't need to make anything happen. Let's just notice. So try that laugh again. What's happening in your body? What's happening in your ribs? What's happening in your low belly? These are important sensations to notice because this actually is very similar to how breath support feels, but in a sort of modified way to accommodate or to support what you are wanting to accomplish with your singing and vocal expression. So take note of these signs. So we're looking for buoyancy. We're looking for a lean. We're looking for flexibility. We're looking for a coordination of engagement and release, not gripping, not holding, right? So begin to notice this. I invite you to bring your awareness to this as you warm up your voice, as you're singing, as you're practicing. And if you want a practice that goes deeper into this, I invite you to check out the breath check. No, not that. The breath check, where we're checking how breath support is functioning in your body. It's totally free. Just check down here in the description and I will send it your way. Thank you so much for joining me. And I invite you back to join me for more of these kind of talks about breath support. Happy practicing.